Okay, I've got a presentation here on the SSIC codes, and this is focused on the instructions that you'll find on the HM1 March 2017 bib. The idea here is if you know how instructions are classified, how they're coded, it's going to help you with those questions that ask you, what instruction does this, or what instruction can you find this? Like, what instruction would you find the tuberculosis control program on? And it'll give you a list of numbers. If you understand how we label the tuberculosis or the medicine instructions, it'll make it easier. It'll make it to where you're not just memorizing numbers for the sake of randomness or for the sake of memorizing numbers. It'll give you a reason, and there'll be a reason why instructions are labeled that way. And if you remember, certain instructions fall under certain types of numbers. You don't necessarily need to memorize every digit in the instruction. So first off, SSIC codes, right? Subject identification codes. They start with the primary number. So anything 6,000 would be medicine and dentistry. So that 6,000 makes it the primary number. Well, they break down even further, right? So there's our primary number. Then we go into our secondary number. This 2, right? This 2, now we're talking 6,200, means preventative medicine. The 6 keeps it in medicine, but we put the 2 on there, the secondary number, will make us preventative medicine. And it breaks down even further. We can get into a tertiary number. So this 20, right? This 2 right here, this is a tertiary number. This means communicable disease. So 6, this is a subject that falls under medicine, 2, preventative medicine, and communicable disease. And this is how we get to the tuberculosis instruction, right? Our tuberculosis instructions of BUMED instruction 6224, right? That's why it's classified this way. Tuberculosis has to do with medicine. The instructions, tuberculosis control, preventing the spread of tuberculosis or keeping latent tuberculosis in check. And then tuberculosis is a communicable disease. So that's why we get the 622 and then the 4 designates it as tuberculosis. Like if the digit was something different here, it would still be something that has to do with communicable disease and preventative medicine and of course medicine. So let's go over our SSIC codes, our primary numbers. So 1000 series, that's a primary military personnel. 2000 telecommunications, 3000 operations and readiness, 4000 logistics, 5000 general administration, 6000 medicine and dentistry, 7000 financial management, 8000 ordnance, 9,000 has to do with ship design, 10,000 has to do with general material, 11,000 facilities and 12,000 civilian personnel, 13,000 aeronautical, and 16,000 Coast Guard missions. So there are some ways, I know there's some ditties out here to memorize every single one of these, but honestly, we're not going to get on the Corpsman advancement test, we're not going to get questions about aeronautical stuff or, facilities and activities, generally. I just kind of focus on the 3 big ones that you'll see on your bibliography. So you're going to see, something with military personnel. So you're going to see things in your 1000. You're going to see things in the 5000, and of course, you're going to see things in the 6000 series because it's medicine and dentistry. So let's look into those 3 in a little bit more detail. So starting with military and personnel, primary number 1000, but like we were talking about, they break down either. And so the 3 categories we should probably be concerned, the 3 secondary numbers in the 1000 series we can look at. Well, 1300's got to do with assignment and distribution. 1600's got to do with performance and discipline. And the 1700, well, that's going to be morale and personal affairs. So I would kind of spend time just kind of knowing these 3 within 1000. And then I would take my instructions and just focus on the numbers for the first part of it. I'd take my instructions and see where they line up within this, okay? So let's show our secondary numbers here. Let's take our instruction that falls into 1300, right? So that one is a 1300 2 alpha, EFMP and suitability screening. Because what is this instruction about? It's about identifying family members that should be enrolled in the exceptional family member program and seeing whether or not they are suitable for, being stationed in like a remote duty station. So it has to do with assignment and distribution, making sure service members and their family members are eligible to be distributed worldwide or in remote duty stations. Our 1600 series, the instruction we have on there, well, of course, is our 1610.10 Delta, our instruction on Navy evaluation system. And then our 17, we've got two in our PMK. We've got the 1720.4 Alpha suicide prevention, and then the 1752 sexual assault prevention and response. And that's on the bibliography for our 1000, and that has to do with military personnel. 13 specifically assignment and distribution, 16 performance and discipline, 17 morale and personal affairs. And like I said, just kind of line up your instructions where they fall in there, and then you can just stop. You don't have to think of them as just random numbers anymore. There's a reason they're numbered this way. And the admin ones, it might not be so important, but in the in the personnel ones, it might not be so important, but the admin ones and the medical ones, you'll see in a minute, it's going to help quite a bit. So let's move on to general administration. So general administration, look at 5100 series, safety and occupational health. We're going to look at 5200 series, management of programs, right? Admin programs, management of admin programs. 5300 has to do with manpower and personnel. And then 5400, well, that's going to be organizations, functions, and status. So let's look into the 51. What instructions do we have that are 5100? Well, we've got the 5100 14 Alpha Occupational Health and Safety Program. We've got 5100 19 Echo, right? The Navy Safety and Occupational Health Program afloat. It's not on the instruction, but you might come across it in your reading. 5100.23, same thing, Navy Safety Occupational Health Manual for ashore. And you'd be able to get that on a test or get it narrowed down, because like the question would be something like, okay, what's the Navy Safety Occupational Health afloat, program? What's the number for that? And your options will be, OpNav 5100 19 Echo, OpNav 5100 23 whatever, and then, OpNav 52 something, OpNav 54 something. Well, because that occupational health falls under 51, you're gonna have a 50-50 shot. Just by knowing that, that anything doing with occupational health, 51. All right, 52. Management of programs. So we got a few on this instruction, right? We've got the 5210.1 Department of the Navy records management, right? Management of programs of administration, right? Administration programs. Well, what's more admin than managing our records, right? We've got 5215.17 directives. We've got the SecNav manual 5216.5, the correspondence manual. So these three right here, they're admin, so they're general administration, so they're going to be 5,000. But not only that, it's how to manage administration, how to manage records, how to manage directives, how to do our correspondence. So they're 52. They're going to fall under 52. Next, we're going to talk about our general manpower and personnel. Well, we've got the equal opportunity instruction, the 5354.1 Foxtrot, and then we've got our fraternization, 5370.2. Right, 53 general manpower and personnel. Well, we're going to talk about EO and fraternization when it comes to general manpower and personnel. And then 54 organization, function, and status. Well, we've got the 5450 165 Bravo Office of the Surgeon General. And what's this instruction about? It's about how the BUMED set up, right? The hierarchy of BUMED. So that's why it's a 5400. It's about organizations, functions, and status under general administration. All right, so now the important ones, right? Medicine and dentistry, where our instructions are going to fall. And we're going to go over all the secondary numbers, and on the bibliography, you might not have an instruction that correlates with every single one of these, but you got to remember, if one of the instructions or the Corpsman Manual references an instruction, well, that can be tested. So this can help you out, because sometimes we'll get asked questions about what, instruction is this, and it's not an instruction listed on the bibliography, but it was referenced within one of those instructions or within one of our manuals. So from our 6000, our 60, that has to do with general admin and medicine. Our 61, right, our 6100 series, that's going to have to do with physical fitness. Our 62, preventative medicine, always a lot of preventative medicine on these things. 63, general medicine. 64 through 65 special fields, and then 66 is going to be dentistry, and 67 through 68 will be equipment and supplies. So on the bibliography for general administration, well, we've got the QA, Quality Assurance Program, and that's our BUMED instruction 6010.13, because this instruction is all about how to run a quality assurance program for an MTF. So it still falls under medicine because it's for medical facilities, but it's more on the admin side of the house. So it's going to be a 60 something, right? A 6010.13. That's our quality assurance. We also have the pregnancy instruction, right? Because this one's not necessarily how to, care for a prenatal mother medically. It's more about the administrative side of the house. When does a woman have to come off of a ship when she's pregnant? How much, when can she change uniforms? How does it work with birthing and all that stuff? It's more of a general admin question. That's why pregnancy is a 6,000 instruction. 61. Deployment health assessment. All right, this is seeing if you're okay, right? Doing an assessment after deployment to make sure we're still physically fit and ready to deploy. Our periodic health assessment, 6120.3. Again, the PHA, what are we doing in that? We're looking at somebody's individual medical readiness, their IMR. So that's why it falls under physical fitness. We want to make sure you are ready to go, that you are worldwide deployable, and you are fit. Not on the bibliography, it sometimes is, but it sure can be referenced through our Corpsman manual. But the instruction regarding the PRT, right, that has to do with physical fitness. So that's 6110.1 Juliet PRT. PrevMed, well, we already talked about tuberculosis a little bit in the beginning, right? 6224.8 Bravo, tuberculosis, 6 being medicine, 2 being preventative med, the tertiary 2 meaning communicable disease, and that's how, and the 4 designates tuberculosis. 6230.15 Bravo, immunizations, right? What are immunizations all about? Chemoprophylaxis. It's preventing disease. So it's a 6200 series, right? It falls under preventative medicine. 6280, 1 Bravo, regulated medical waste, making sure we appropriately dispose of medical waste so as not to get people, sick. Under our general medicine, we've got the 6300.19, our primary care, right? This one is all about how to run primary care, how to set up a medical home port, and all the rules that go into that. So that's why we fall under 6300 with our primary care instruction. Special fields, HSAP, right? Health Service Augmentee Program. We'll think about what this instruction's about. It's all the regulations, everything that goes into pulling somebody from a different command and deploying them greenside, deploying them to a special field, right? Being in the field and being with an amphibious unit like the Marines. So that's why it falls under 6400 series, our HSAP program, 6440.5 Charlie. And then we had no dentistry and no equipment and supplies instructions on the bib. But remember, in your readings, you might come across this. So if you get an instruction, where can I find information on an AMOL, right? An authorized authorized, oh man, I'm forgetting what an AMOL is. But we get an instruction on an AMOL, well, we would know that it would fall under our 6700 series, so that would at least get us in the ballpark. All right, so after I've gone through and I've found where every instruction lies, I know what type of instruction it is, what number series it correlates, what its secondary number means, then I'll go through and make sure, what is it, authorized medical allowance list? Yeah, there it is. Now I remember. Now we're past the slide. But anyway, now that I've gone through, like I said, and assigned all my secondary numbers, see where they fall, then I'll take a look and see who they're published by. So EFMP and suitability screening, that's published by BUMED, right? Suicide prevention and sexual assault, those are both OPNAV instructions. Going through our general admin, well, we've got 5100, the Occupational Health and Safety Program. Well, that one is actually a BUMED instruction, or our Navy Safety Occupational Health Afloat, our 5119 Echo, that is an OPNAV instruction. Our Department of the Navy Records Management 5210.1 is a SecNav manual. Directives is actually an OpNav instruction 5215.17. And then our Correspondence Manual is a SecNav manual as well, 5216.5. Our Equal Opportunity 5354.1 Foxtrot, that's OpNav. Fraternization as well is OpNav. And then our Office of the Surgeon General 5450 165 Bravo is BUMED instruction. And then our Quality Assurance 601013 is a BUMED instruction. Pregnancy is an OpNav instruction. Deployment Health is an OpNav instruction. PHAs are actually a SecNav instruction. PRT, OpNav again, and then we're going to BUMED out for the rest of these, right? BUMED instruction for TB, BUMED instruction for immunizations, BUMED instruction for regulated medical waste, BUMED instruction for primary care, and BUMED's the one who's going to tell us about the Health Service Augmentee program. Okay, so I hope that helps kind of give these instructions a reason why they're labeled that way, that they don't appear to be random numbers. Like I said, I don't spend a lot of time memorizing every single digit in an instruction. I just look and see where they fall. And a lot of times, not every question, but a lot of times, you're going to be able to narrow it down to a 50-50 shot where you're just stuck between two, or sometimes it'll just have one that would be appropriately labeled for that. So even though you don't know the number specifically, you know, for example, this topic has to do with preventative medicine, so it's gonna fall in the 62 something. Okay, I pulled all this from the SSIC manual. That's the M5210.1. And we know what that is, right? 5 general admin, 2 having to do with managing the program. And then, of course, all those instructions were off of your 2017 regular exam bibliography. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, or requests, feel free to leave a comment, or you can always reach me by email. I plan on making a couple more of these in the future. And like I said, I hope that helps you guys out.